Hello everyone, Kenuki here, and today we are gonna analyze a game that happened yesterday between coRe and Give You Anxiety. We are gonna analyze a few games. I'm doing this live on Twitch. I'm probably gonna do some of those review sessions on the weekends. I think maybe sometimes in the afternoon when I have time. But yeah, that's something that I'm gonna do. I think on my free time on Twitch. So if you want to join one day, make sure to do so. The link of my Twitch channel will be in the description. But let's jump into this game today. So a best of 5 was played yesterday between coRe and GUA, and both of them, let's say, they tried their best. Okay, um, it was a very tense matchup overall, and I wanted to review it. We will be seeing a lot of wrong about those two players because many mistakes were made. Let's be real. But what I want to be very clear about is that those two players are good, like extremely good actually, and that's why I want to start with this first game. Because in this first game, we are gonna see GUA just applying his game plan and applying it very, very properly. And that's the thing with those two players. I feel like when they know what they have to do, they do it very well. But when they don't, and when they start being unsure about what to do, they have a hard time finding some good footing. And so that's why we are gonna start with a game in which GUA is playing this like extremely well. He's applying his game plan, and we are gonna try to understand this. So it's not gonna be a casted game like you often see. I'm gonna try to go more into analysis. I'm gonna try to explain a little bit more. If you want to watch the game, they are probably gonna be uploaded on Mr. Merlin channel. Okay, guys. So make sure to go check his channel if you want the casted game, the live cast. Myself, I'm gonna stick to analysis basically. So if I'm correct, yes, there we go. So on that side we have coRe. On the other side we are gonna have Give You Anxiety. I don't even know how do we switch the view between both players, but that's not an issue. So coRe here that is gonna play Delhi on the top as the orange, and GUA that is gonna play the French in blue at the bottom. So this matchup is an hard matchup for Delhi. And so French have a pretty easy time bullying the Delhi in this matchup. Okay, that's the thing. And so they have the upper hand. So why? Why is that? To put it very simply, Delhi is relying on map control and secret sight in order to generate extra resources. French are extremely good at contesting map control because they have knights in feudal age, and so it makes it very difficult for the Delhi player to actually go out of his base and contest the French player, basically, because Delhi has a pretty hard time with armored units in the early edges, and making spears is not necessarily a solution because first, Royal Knights are extremely strong, and second, archers. Archers are a thing. And in Feudal Age, you love to make archers. So those two components makes it pretty hard for Delhi, actually, to play this matchup. And so GUA is going to be in the driver's seat in this game. Like, that's the thing to understand. So, like, I like to talk about win conditions when we cast games. So what is the win condition for the Delhi? It's accessing secret sites. On this map in particular, it's a bit easier because they have one in their own base. It's accessing secret site, making sure that they can get this trickle, that they can get this income, and from there they can get an advantage and try to go into the Castle Age. And in Castle Age, the matchup kind of balances itself after a while, and that's the difficulty, is that Delhi basically wants to go into Castle Age, but they have to be careful because French are extremely good at punishing you for going Castle Age too fast. So it's like kind of a balance that you have to strike as the Delhi player. In order to do all of that, you're gonna need one thing, and that one thing is food. You're gonna need a lot of food. Why is that? Because if you want to fight against French in the feudal age as Delhi, you are gonna need two things. You are gonna need pikes, and you are gonna need horsemen. A lot of them. And both of those things, what do they cost? They cost food. Okay, so you are gonna need a lot of food. So as we can see on the spawn, there is a berry at the back, there is a second berry bush at the back, and then the ants are quite on the side, and that's why it's not that easy for Delhi. As you can see, there are just 3 berry bushes, and then it's hunt immediately, which means that sure, it's a good map for Delhi because you have the secret site that is safe, but it's not that good of a map for Delhi because you don't have as much food as, for example, on Dry Arabia. We can see that coRe is going to go for Tower of Victory, which is surprising to me because Tower of Victory tends to be a slower landmark. It is slower tempo than the other landmark, which is the Dome of the Faith. I'm a bit surprised by this because usually versus French, you want as much tempo as possible. We can see that GUA is doing the standard, the gold standard of French, which is basically going for a school of cavalry with a few villagers on gold. We are gonna look at the number of villagers, 4 villagers on gold. This with wheelbarrow, the goal is gonna be to have a knight immediately as you edge up, which is a bit of a failure right now. A bit of a miss right there from GUA. So, oh, wait, sorry, my bad. It was cute. I didn't so. So he's gonna go for his first knight. We can see the edge up coming in for coRe. coRe is gonna go for a second mosque. Why a second mosque? Because when you go for Tower of Victory, you need a second mosque in order to get more scholars. And that's why this build order in particular has an hard time with tempo. It's because you need to spend an extra 150 wood in order to get that mosque, and then you pay your scholar. Like your scholars are more expensive, so it's a lot of investment in the beginning of the game that really is hard to afford against a French. And we can see that there you go, it is starting. One thing that I like to see from GUA is that he is trying to deny the vision from coRe. As you can see, immediately the knight is going onto the enemy scout of coRe and trying to push it back into his base. That's very, very important because you need to push the Delhi player back into his base. Immediately we see an archery range, a second knight has come out, and so that's one of the first decisions that you can take into the game really as French is, do I go immediately for an archery range or do I go immediately for a +1 attack thanks to, how is it called already, a blacksmith. I'm personally a huge fan of the blacksmith in general, but as we can see, coRe, very good adaptation in this matchup, has gone immediately for, how is it called, the bonus HP on villagers. I can't remember the name, but basically the bonus HP on his villagers. There you go, it's here, textiles, there you go. So he has gone immediately for textiles, and what textiles is gonna do, it's gonna make it absolutely impossible for those knights to find value. Like, that's it. So this knight is gonna survive with 3 HP, this knight needs to survive, and at this point, Give You Anxiety basically can hardly find any value outside of trying to deny access to those resources. And that's what he's doing right now. You don't want, basically that knight dived a little bit too hard, and now it's low HP, it cannot put pressure onto those patches of resources. But that's all you want to do right now. All you want to do is make sure that nobody can go in there and nobody can go in there. And that's why in this matchup in particular, I really like going for an archery range early, because your opponent is going to go for textiles since it is 3, and your knight is not going to be able to find much value. But your archers will, because archers don't go in and out, and they don't take damage in the process. So I really like the go for archers. You want to just save HP on this knight, to be honest, and try not to lose it, not to take too much damage before the archers come in. The goal is to have the archers plus the knights simultaneously. There you go, we can see another knight. Very good play here by Give You Anxiety, raising up the pressure and trying to attack on multiple fronts. That's really, really good. So overall, this is going to be a very good game by Give You Anxiety. We can see that he's denying the gold, making it hard for coRe to actually get enough pellets. And there you go, Piety is complete. Now we can look for the secret site as coRe. But as you can see, GUA, rightfully so, is camping on that left side. Very, very well played, and going for some horsemen. I really like this play. What I would like to see with this horseman is trying to get onto this scout. Just chase this scout, keep the scout into his base. And yeah, just keep the scout into his base. That's why, as you can see, I was saying that having multiple knights was very important. High HP, why you want to keep them high HP is for this. your opponent is going to do a transition into horsemen, and we all know that the transition of the Delhi are extremely explosive. So what you want to be able to do is to have your knights ready so you can basically match the horsemen of your opponent with knights. So that's a small mistake by GUA, which make it so, like right now, he cannot put pressure because he has no knights. Okay, because his knights are too low on HP and he needs to regen before he can go in again. So that's a bit of a mistake right there. Keeping his knights high on HP, like recognizing, okay, I cannot deal damage with those knights. I need to keep them high on HP, so then I can do more damage with my archers. I like what he's doing right now. You see, that's what I was talking about. Chasing the opponent's scout, denying vision. There you go. So now coRe is completely in the dark. He managed to secure a quick wall here, which is going to be very good for him because now he has a pocketed eco that is here, and quote-unquote here, so he can try to expand to keep his army towards this position in order to cover all of it here at the back. So that's pretty good. Sadly, he overchopped a little bit, and that's gonna cost him a little bit. So this, for example, not the best, because once again, you are keeping your villagers at the front, get them at the back right there, get them close to your other villagers, and make sure they all defend each other, basically. Well, what you have to think about is when you have more villagers, it's easier, for example, to body block with one villager or another. So here we can see the lack, really, I cannot stress that enough, but taking HP damage on those knights is currently very, very problematic for GUA, because now he's forced to retreat. Why is he forced to retreat? Because he has no knights as a front line, so he cannot deal with those horsemen. Usually what you want to do is have a few knights so you can keep up the pressure, add racks behind, that's what he did, and then you add the pikemen on top. But the knights give you basically a little bit of a buffer, so that way you can keep up the pressure. That's basically what it is about. So there you go. We can see very quick wall here. So coRe secured all of his right side, so now he's going to be able to move on the left side. That's very interesting. Move on the left side and make sure that he can keep fighting. What I would like to see from coRe is, don't be shy, mate. What I mean by don't be shy, wall, go for it, mate. You have the wood for it, and all you are looking to do right now, there you go, walls. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So he's going for walls. Now we can see that chivalry has come in for the French. So those knights are going to regenerate HP. If they regenerate HP, as we said, you now have a front line again. The knights are coming up. What I would like to see from GUA is a blacksmith. A blacksmith is up. The +1 is up. What you need is steel arrows. You need that +1 attack. Why do you need that +1 attack? Very simply because you want to deal with the spearmen of your opponent as fast as possible, and for that you are gonna need that +1 attack. Oh, there is still a gap in the wall. Ah, that's terrible. This is a huge issue because now those knights can come in and start rampaging into his opponent's base. Those berries are very exposed. Like, what GUA should look for now, as I said earlier, the win con for GUA is very simply to deny the food of his opponent. So there is no food here anymore. Okay, what's the next? The next is here. All he needs to do is deny this and deny the expansion on the hunts. And right now he's going straight for the food. So here we can see GUA knowing what he has to do. He did a little mistake earlier with by taking too much damage on his knights. But now we can see he's recovering basically. And what I mean by he's recovering is that, oh, losing this knight. You can see some small micro mistake, but GUA knows what he has to do. What he has to do is pressure here in order to deny those berries, basically. At the same time, he's going to push at the front in order to do more damage. So he's trying to deny that food. He sees the army, and so up he commits at the front. That's a very good thing to do usually, to try to out multitask your opponent, fight on two sides. But once again, and that's really a trend on GUA games, a lack of upgrades for someone that wants to be so aggressive in feudal. GUA, if you are watching this, get your military upgrades and stop floating so much wood. I'm serious. That's a trend into your game. You need to get those military upgrades faster. You need to spend that wood. If you get that wood, okay, good. Get a few farms. If you want to get for a soft transition at time, I understand. maybe you float that wood because you want to go for rams, but if I understand, you never go for rams in feudal age. You prefer just going castle age and doing more damage that way, which I completely understand and support. Okay, but right now, basically, why are you losing this fight? Because you are macroing. Like you could have more resources on the field, and your units could be upgraded. I repeat, especially versus Delhi, having more damage is extremely important because of those little guys. Those scholars are gonna out heal you if you don't deal enough damage. So you need your damage upgrade. So taking the fight without steel arrows here, if I'm correct at the beginning. Now he got it. By the way. Oh, maybe it was my UI. Sorry. So now he got his upgrade. So perfect. Okay, so forget about that. Now he got his upgrade, so it's really good. I don't know if he took the fight with it. I'm not sure. I hope so. But yeah, I didn't saw basically that the upgrade was going on. So now we can see there is a try to move onto the map by coRe. GUA is going to keep up the pressure. This army is not big enough. And that's what I said by as Delhi, what you want to do is access enough food so you can mass pikemen and horsemen and move out. And that's exactly what coRe is doing right now. He's trying to move out, he's trying to access more resources. The thing though is you cannot miss this opportunity, and the big thing is this army is not very mobile and is not good at dealing with knights. If you are doing that move out, you need to wall your backside, because look what is gonna happen. This Royal Knight is gonna come here, it is gonna deal damage, and at the moment it starts dealing damage, what is coRe gonna have to do? He's gonna have to pull back. And as soon as he has to pull back, he's in a world of trouble. So really coRe here, lack of upgrades by the way by coRe. Wait, oh, is it a bugger? Yeah, it's a bug, Okay, he got his upgrade. No, okay, and he got most of the military upgrades, so good by him. But you can see the knight is coming in. You need to wall. When you have a slower composition than your opponent, basically this composition cannot do as much damage as two knights into your opponent's economy. So into that two knights can do into your economy. So what you want to do is wall, so that way you protect yourself from knights, because that's really the win condition of the French. Doing damage, eco damage with knights. Here, the real deal is here. This is the real deal. All that's happening here, it's good and all. It's cool. Like, coRe is doing some damage, yeah, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. No, all he is doing is he's doing some damage to an army. He's not doing damage to an eco. This is doing damage to an eco. Okay? So as you can see, GUA is gonna be able to mass, and since he has nothing to back onto, like there are no walls, take your time, put a square box around here, and so that way, if the fight is not going well, you go back to your square box. You see what I mean? And right there, he is in trouble. Basically, coRe is in trouble because he was ahead, but he basically gave up his advantage by opening himself to raids. And that's the big thing. Like, if you have ever played chess or strategy games in general, when you move with something that is slow moving in the center of the map, what you have to understand is that you open your flanks, okay, to fast moving units. So you have to be very careful about that and make sure that you don't open your flanks, because that's how you can lose initiative. And so that's one thing that I want to touch on afterwards, but we're gonna see. So now GUA has complete control of the map. As we can see, he's starting to do massive eco damage. I hope he's gonna come here and try to deny this hunt, because as I said, the win condition here for the French is to deny access to food. This Castle Age doesn't matter. In order to win into Castle Age, what you need is food, because what are you gonna train? You are gonna train knights, you are gonna train crossbows, and you are gonna train men-at-arms, okay? None of those units matter or can be trained if you don't have enough food. They are all food expensive, okay? And now we can see the two knights are gonna move here, and they are gonna deny the food supply from coRe. And from there, coRe has zero food income, none. Okay, so that's one of the things that I really want to put into perspective, is that you do not want to move an age if you don't have the requirement for an edge up. Huge damage here, but once again, the big damage is being done here, because here we are denying food, okay? All we are doing here is keeping our opponent busy, basically. Okay, the damage, the real damage is happening here. And now what we are gonna see, and that is very interesting, is that the villagers from GUA are gonna start moving onto the map and try to contest, try to grab all those resources. And I really love that. We are gonna see that in a few seconds. So there you go. Now a contain is starting, full control of the map. And now what I want to see from GUA is starting to really take control on the map. What do I mean by this? Right now there are no towers, there is nothing basically truly hardly securing the map. And that's what I want to see next. It is defensive, it is static defense, it is permanent vision towers in order to know what his opponent is doing, where he is moving, and stuff like this. So as you can see, more economic damage that is being done here. Very, very good. And now that's huge idle eco, basically. Like, coRe is in pain right now. He's in deep, deep pain. So, one thing that I want to quickly touch on is that basically, right now, it doesn't matter if GUA is throwing away some army. What he's trying to do is keep his opponent busy. And what I want to see him do behind, and that's what he's going to do. I saw the game yesterday, by the way. What I want to see him do, and what he's going to do, is he's going to truly take control of the map. Basically, what you have to understand is that all of this, it leads to idle time, it leads to some damage onto the eco, but for now, the map control hasn't been truly secured. What I mean by that is that if coRe wins the fight versus this army, then there is nothing between him and his opponent base. Okay, here there is nothing apart from rallying units. But there you go, finally, villagers are moving out onto the map and they are gonna try to secure all of this. And I hope we are gonna see some towers around the entire base in order to secure that map control. Because that's really about it, guys. What you have to understand is that, like, he can lose this fight. Slowly but surely, he can lose this fight because he is still against castle edge units. Even if there is no food, and that's all the army his opponent has, there are scholars behind. With the scholars, you can get some extra value from your units. Those units are tanky, notably the men-at-arms. So he can still win this fight if GUA is not careful. So what you need is keep this army busy, exactly what he is doing right now, but get more value elsewhere. And this is getting value. Okay, now he's denying resources. We can see more villagers moving onto the map. And as I said, we want to see some towers. Look, when I said you may lose the fight, like, this fight looks unlosable by GUA, but it is the case because it is Delhi. It is Delhi with herbal medicine, with armored units, and at that point you cannot underestimate Delhi. Delhi can win any fight as long as you don't have enough damage. And they have enough scholar. Here we can see another villager transition that is being intercepted, that is being catched by GUA. Very, very good. So the damage is being done. We can see GUA here denying some food access, getting the food here. Like, as I said, get the food here, get the food here. And now GUA sees, oh, okay, I lost the fight. Maybe I cannot finish my opponent right now. I need to assert, basically, dominance over this, this map. And that's really the thing. GUA did the mistake that many of us do, which is trying to win the game too fast. Basically, if you have ever done jujitsu, like, there are stuff that are called chokeholds, submission, stuff like this. What you want to do is not rush for a submission. There you go, tower, outpost. What you want to do is force your opponent into reacting to a threat, okay? So right now, what is the threat? The threat is being dived. The threat is not having access to food. You need to force your opponent. You need you need to basically build up an advantage over time. He has to react to that advantage that you are building up over time. And while he's trying to react to that, you make sure that he cannot, basically. Instead of going directly for the throat and trying to end your opponent, opening yourself to a counter, what you do is you basically strengthen the chokehold. Okay, that's basically what he's doing right now. With those towers, with the denying of the food right there, I want to see an extra tower. There you go. Now he's going for those towers. A tower here. I would like to see a tower here, denying those berries. And now you go for the chokehold. One of the big questions during the live cast was, why is GUA not going for Castle Age? And the answer is very simple. If he goes Castle Age, he's giving up on the choke. Okay? He's giving up on the chokehold. You do not want to give up on this chokehold. Basically, your game right now, you winning the game or not, is based on, are you able to deny food from coRe? Are you able to deny food access from this player? Because he cannot do both. He can invest into military, he cannot invest into villager. If he invests into villager, he has no military. So you are building up an advantage, you are gathering more resources than him, and so you do not want to let go, basically. So that's why he's not going Castle Age. He doesn't want to let go. So that's very, very well played overall. I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna give a small debrief after that of why this is a very good move. But basically, he's not rushing for his advantage. Okay, he's slowly piling up damage, and as we can see, more damage is gonna be done here by gathering those resources. There are no food anymore here. And then you just move on to the stone, you move on to the gold, you move on. You see what I mean? And you make sure that your opponent has no access to resources. And meanwhile, you keep doing some raids. Okay, he killed what? 2 vills and he lose 3 knights. Yeah, who cares? Like if we look at the income difference, he has 3 times the income. Of course you want to waste some units. As long as you keep up the pressure and as long as you make it so your opponent cannot move out. Like that's the thing. You want your opponent to feel the chokehold. Okay? That's really what this is about. And we can see that's exactly what GUA is doing. This, however, I don't like. For example, I don't like those archers moving in. Because those archers don't need to move in. This is a move in order to finish the game. Okay? This is a move in order to apply economic pressure. Okay? So for me, for example, having your archers parked here or here in order to retreat with your knights and make sure you kill a few pikemen in the process, perfect. If you dive with your archers, you are trying to finish the game a bit too fast right now, GUA. And you are basically wasting units. So you can see now he's finally moving into the Royal Institute, and what I like with this is doing it after he got control with Outpost, after he has denied all the food from his opponent, and now finally, after a long choke, after his opponent has been starving to death since minutes, now finally he's moving into Castle Edge, and now finally he's gonna go for the kill. He's gonna go for the fort, finally. And it's fine. It's perfectly fine to take your time. What you have to understand is that Delhi can extremely quickly come back if you give them time. They have a very good economy. Delhi has all of these +2 upgrades right now. Even if it's a few villagers, they are good villagers. Delhi has good armored units. Their units have a lot of value because of scholars. So you want to be very careful. As soon as they retake control of the map, they retake control of the sacred sites. So you have to be careful about this. But yeah, GUA is now completely starving his opponent. I like the addition of another tower. I hope he's gonna get some spring golem placement in there. We can see that coRe is trying to move out again, and boom, another raid right there. So now I'm not so against, let's say, a commitment of those units, because those units are completely obsolete at this point. What I mean by they are completely obsolete, we don't see any horsemen anymore. There is no need for pikemen at this point because there are so many knights. Those archers don't do anything versus those men at arms, so losing those units right now is not that much of an issue in my opinion. It's no longer an issue. You see, that's why it's important to get vision and to get some pointers like this. Is that you can see your opponent moving onto the map. We can see that the upgrade for the Royal Knight is coming in. We can see that Royal Bloodline is coming in as well. We can see a lot of villagers moving. The upgrades, the Spring Golem placements are going up on the towers on the sides, at least on this one, and that's very, very good. Very good to see. And we are trying to do a keep drop, but the game is gonna end there. So I really like this game because basically it's a display. Like there are a few mistakes, but you can see that like GUA had a plan, he executed it, and it works. And it worked really. One thing I want to quickly touch on, quickly quote unquote. Um, I'm gonna keep you on to where is it? This is my match history. Up, a lot less interesting than core match history, if you ask me. Up, there you go. Basin. So I'm gonna leave you with the timeline right there quickly, but I'm gonna explain something else. One thing that is really important, in my opinion, to understand is basically how a game flows. Okay, so up, I'm gonna explain you. I'm gonna try to explain it to you for a model that is called the KaiPass. What is the KaiPass? The KaiPass model is basically a model that allows to analyze fights. Okay, fights in general. And so, what is KaiPass? It is control, initiative, pace, attrition, surrender. So that's what KaiPass is about. Okay, and the big thing is this applies, of course, to almost any fight, and it basically any fight, and it applies, of course, to Age of Empires 4. What you have to understand is that surrender, killing your opponent, is the last phase. Okay. Also, what you have to understand is that damages, okay, there is no damage above the space, the attrition phase. Okay. Above this stage here, above this line, there is no damage. Here, no damage. And here there is damage. Okay, that's a very, very important thing to understand. The damage starts below this line. Okay, all you are doing above is fighting for control. It's fighting for initiative, it's fighting for pace. What are those? Control is the game plan. For example, are you controlling the game plan? It's gonna be the map. Are you controlling the map? That's what control is about. Is the game going in the direction you want? And are you controlling the map and its resources? Okay, so for example, I really like when GUA got his villagers forward in order to secure both the resources that are next to his opponent base, and also in order to build towers, to get vision, to gain some damage, basically to see when villagers are trying to move out of core base. It's why, because he's truly securing control of the map. Basically, there are two ways to secure the map. Okay, there is units. There is an issue with units. They move and they die. That's the big thing. Units die very quickly, and they tend to need to be at the right place at the right time. Okay, they need to be there, and they die. Okay, the other way to secure map control is with static defense. I'm not saying that static defense is superior to units, by the way. You need units in order to support your static defense. Okay, but the big thing is you need static defense in order to make your units more valuable, because static defense, they provide vision, constant vision. Scouts do not provide constant vision. Scouts need to be properly positioned. They might not be. Scouts die. Towers are a lot harder to kill. Okay, so constant vision. Instead of putting it like this, I'm gonna put it like this. There you go. And also what they do, support. They provide a lot of damage if a fight is happening below static defense. So I really like when GUA did that. Basically what it did is he secured the control part of the game. Another thing that GUA did is that overall he tried to keep initiative. What is initiative? Are you the one able to do the next move? Overall, he did a good job at it. There is one moment he did a mistake on that part. It's when he took too much damage on his knights. And I really think that's a big mistake, because at that point he loses initiative, he loses the ability to force his opponent back. Basically, he loses this ability, and so his opponent is retaking initiative. And we saw that it was a problem for coRe. That it was a problem for GUA at that moment, because coRe was able to push out and was able to start expanding onto the map. But what coRe did is that he basically gave up initiative back to his opponent by going into Castle Edge. And that was a big mistake. And also by overcommitting into his opponent's base and thus losing his army. Initiative, so are you able to do the next move? Basically, it's about two things. If you're able to do the next move, it's units. Do you have units? And the other thing is your base open to attacks? There is one point in the game we saw that coRe basically tried to move out. Let me get the game back in, and so I'm gonna be able to give you a bond on this. So I'm gonna speed up this time. I did quite of a long cast the first time. This time we are gonna speed up, so that way you can understand and try to follow this Skypus model. Like, seriously, guys, if you are looking to step up your game, you need to understand this. Like, I'm dead serious on this. That's how you are gonna truly win games. Build orders don't matter. What unit comps you're doing don't matter. When do you go for a keep? When none of that matter. What matters is fundamental understanding of control, initiative, pace, attrition, surrender. If you truly understand that, and if you truly master it, and if you are able to apply it, you are gonna step up your game. As long as you rely on some gimmicks, I would say, or some tricks, you are not gonna build a fundamental understanding of the game. So that's what I said. There is the harassment coming from Give You Anxiety. As I said in another video, he has priority because he has knights. That's it. Now he's gonna take some damage onto his knights. And what happens when he takes damage onto his knights is giving back initiative to coRe. coRe now has the initiative because those knights are too low on HP, and coRe is going to be able to mass horsemen behind this in order to push back the archers of his opponent. So now coRe has the initiative because Give You Anxiety took too much damage onto his knights. Basically. And so we are going to see, like in 1 minute or two, you see that Give You Anxiety doesn't have priority because his units are low. We can see that coRe is massing and he's going to retake priority thanks to this. It's a bit longer than I thought, actually. But yeah, there you go. So here, that's the moment he's retaking priority. Okay? So, as I said, priority is about, do you have units? Yes, coRe has units. The other thing about priority, that's the second part that is extremely important, is your base open to attacks, especially raids / raids. That's especially true if you are at a time in the game in which your opponent has fast-moving armored units, knights, or palace guard for trainees. Why is this so important? Because if knights come into your eco, they are going to deal damage, and so they are going to force you back. So what you need to do when you move out like this, as Delhi, you need to secure your base behind. And what I mean by this is full wall. Full wall here, wall here, wall here, wall here, wall here. Full wall your base. Because what is going to make it so you lose initiative? It is losing your units, and it is losing the initiative because you have to respond to your opponent's raid. Okay, that's what is going to cost you the initiative. In this case, coRe is going to do both mistakes at once, because basically what coRe is trying to do, so it's not exactly now, it's going to be a bit later. Actually, we can see he's taking the steps. He's trying to set up stuff like this. But what he's going to do is that he's going to try to raise the pace at a moment in which he hasn't secured his initiative. Okay? So we can see the raids are coming in, and so he's losing initiative. You see? No initiative anymore. Okay, he kills a few units. He's gonna get back his initiative. He's gonna try to move forward. GUA loses a few units. There is gonna be a big fight here. right there. And from there, because GUA doesn't have units anymore, now coRe has full initiative. Okay? So what do you do when you have full initiative? You secure it. But now what coRe is trying to do is that instead of securing his initiative while pushing forward, he's trying to raise the pace too fast, basically. But what you have to understand is that you have to have good footing. If you do not secure your economy, if you do not secure your advantage on initiative, you cannot push out too hard. Like right there, this tower is very good. Securing initiative, once again. He needs to wall here. He needs to wall here. He needs to make sure this wall is fully secured. That's what he did. At the same time, while he has the initiative on the map, okay? That's not like you have to do this and then you move out. No, you can do both at once because you have the initiative, but you need to secure it behind it. And now the big thing is, you do not want to raise the pace. What is the most important right now is to make sure you keep your initiative. How do you keep the initiative? You don't lose those units. And as I said, you make sure that you cannot be raided. Right now, coRe is going to lose the initiative. Because he's going to lose this mass. And he's going to get raided at the back. You see? And from there, coRe is losing all of the initiative that he built. Okay? So here is the thing. How does the KPass model work? It's very, very simple, once again. How does it work? When you have control, you can fight for initiative. When you have initiative, you can fight for pace. When you have pace, you can fight for attrition. Okay? What happened is, at that point, coRe just lost initiative, which means that he is now open to losing control of the game. If he loses control of the game, now GUA is back in control. He's taking back control of the game plan and he's taking back control of the map and its resources. From there, he's going to regain initiative, which is going to force coRe to stay into his base. And from there, he's going to be able to apply his pace. If coRe doesn't lose the initiative, give you anxiety, cannot put the pace of the game in his shoes, and he cannot retake control of the game. He cannot retake control of the map. He doesn't have access to resources. coRe does, and the game is extremely different from there. But because coRe tried to rush into basically almost attrition phase at that point, because he raised the pace too fast without securing the initiative, and he tried to move directly into attrition, he tried to deal damage, he is losing everything because he overcommitted. Make sure that you secure the first steps. Pace is very simple. It's APM war, okay? And it's production. Do you have enough production to keep up? Like, basically, let's look at coRe base. He has 2 production buildings when moving out onto the map. We have 50 villagers, okay? So those production buildings are boosted by a scholar, okay? So they produce, of course, quite quicker, 11 seconds instead of, for example, the 22, if I'm correct, 20 base of the French. Yeah, I believe it's 20 or 22. It must be 22 at base. So basically, he has the equivalent of 4 military buildings, but at this point, you probably want 5, and you probably want, okay, the blacksmith upgrade are going up, but you probably want an extra production building because this is likely not going to be enough. Your opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 production building. Okay, a very quick rule that works pretty well is that on average, when you have 10 villager, 10 non-upgraded villager able to gather, you want 1 production building on top. Right now, the villagers from coRe are upgraded. They all have their +1 upgrade and they all have wheelbarrow. Okay, so they are not basic villagers. Basically, every villagers from coRe at this point is like worth 1.2 base villagers. Plus, he has its secret side that is like around 4 villagers, if I'm correct. So that's like his eco is more around the 60 base villagers than it is around the 48. Okay, so now he need 6 production building worth, and now he has only 4. Okay, so he's not gonna be able to spend his resources fast enough. Okay, So when he moves into pace war, basically when he moves into this stage, he is not ready for it. He is not ready for it because his production is not ready for it, okay? And because he hasn't truly secured the initiative, okay? And that's why coRe lost this game. GUA gave him an opportunity and coRe threw it away by basically rushing into things. Take your time, mate. Go for a wall here. Go for a wall here. Make sure to secure a wall here, so in case the fight goes badly, you just get your units under this, and that's it. Suddenly the knights are no longer an issue. Okay? And if your opponent wants to move past, very good. Okay, your opponent wants to move past, boom, you move into his base again. And you use this as an anchor, basically. Okay? So yeah, there you go. That's why coRe lose this game, because he tried to rush too fast into doing damage. Stop thinking about doing damage. Take your time. On the other end, why did GUA won the game afterwards? Because he took his time. Like on this, Give You Anxiety is gonna retake the initiative. By the way, at the same time, like once again, just to hammer on the point, just to be sure it's well understood. When you are moving into pace and attrition phases, okay, do not, and when you have the initiative, do not rush into compound of the defender. What is the win con of the daily? We said it earlier, it is controlling access to food. If you rush access, if you rush your castle age, all you are doing is surrendering your food. Okay? You do not want to surrender your food. That's like the thing that you need in order to win. If you lose access to food, you are gonna lose the game. So do not lose the pace war. Do not slow down your pace in order to go into Castle Age. Do not lose initiative in order to go into Castle Age. And do not lose map control in order to go to Castle Age. Like, that's the most important. Do not lose that. Because basically, by going into this Castle Age, stopping production, not going for another military building, etc., all coRe did is he said, we take all of this, now you are in control. And when a French player has a chokehold on you and is making sure that you have no access to resources, my guy, you are in a world of trouble. And GUA is going to play this very well. He's going to take control. And at that point, what I'm going to like about GUA is that he's not going to overcommit. Okay? Here we can see he's taking his time. And what I really like is what he's going to start doing in a few minutes is when the villagers are going to move in, and he's going to start to truly secure control of the map with towers, control of the initiative thanks to these towers. When you know what your opponent is doing, it's harder for him to actually do something by keeping his mass high. Like right there, for example, this move, like, it's fine because right now the army of coRe is not big enough, so it's fine. But I don't want to see those archers committing under STC. Okay, he has to keep his mass on two fronts, and he has to move in, move out, move in, move out. That's exactly what he wants to do, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's moving in, moving out, moving in, moving out, and that's all you want to do from different angles. Do not fight this army head on. Just move in, move out, move in, move out. Okay. So there you go. The army is coming. Move out. Move out. Out, 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 out. Far, far away, far away. There you go. And you see, moving out, pressure on the other side. Boom, you come and you pressure here. Okay, you come, you pressure here. But what you want to do here is avoid this fight for as long as possible and keep doing damage on different sections of the map. Basically, you are refusing to enter into attrition and you stay into pace. Okay? Here, by taking this engagement, Give You Anxiety saying, okay, we're going to damage again. Damage mode again. No, 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 no. You don't want to. All you want to do is keep a fight, is keep basically the pace very high. That's all you are looking to do. Okay? And keep the damage onto the economy of your opponent. Keep your mass. As soon as you lose your mass, you may lose initiative and all the game plan falls apart. So keep your mass, avoid this fight. You don't have to fight this. Those men-at-arms are slower than you. So you don't have to fight this. Okay? He's gonna do it. It's gonna be a fight that he loses. You see what I mean? But thanks to all of the damage that he has done, he's not gonna lose initiative with this fight. But that's a fight he shouldn't take. Like, I cannot stress that enough. If those archers are too slow and they are gonna kill your mass, just sacrifice five archers for it. But make sure to not lose your mass like this, because if you lose your mass, you lose initiative as French. Okay? By moving in, you see, that's where he starts taking the control and stuff. And then he goes into a slow attrition war, and from this attrition, he forces his opponent to surrender. That's what I want you to do in your games. That's how you are gonna win games. Control this. I'm gonna hammer this point until I see every pro players like doing this properly, like doing this very properly. Like here we can see there are huge mistake on this very, very quote unquote basic but extremely hard to implement into your games, let's be real, but very basic fundamental concept. Okay? Do not lose control, do not lose initiative when you have it, and make sure to get the pace at the proper level. Make sure that you are ready to raise the pace. Do not rush for things. Like, coRe is still on 3 military buildings. You see what I mean? We are at 21 minutes into the game. His opponent is on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 still. Almost 7 because those tables are boosted. Okay, so that's it for this game. I'm not going to go more into it. Overall, very, very good game by GUA. At least from the moment he took control. He took back control. It was a really good game. But I think you can see that there are still a lot of mistakes that are done, and that this game could be a lot cleaner on both sides. And I really hope that they are going to see this review. And if I could have feedback from them, that could be really cool. I hope you enjoyed this little cast, this little analysis. And I see you next time, guys. I'm gonna cast another game from both of these players, and we are gonna see the exact same mistakes, but 10 times greater, like the 10 times worse, I should say. You're gonna see that, and we are gonna analyze a second game from them. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I see you next time. Bye bye. Hop.